Hello, Virgo, and welcome to Soulfire Tarot. My name is Steve. This is for the month of May. Now it's a little bit late going here, but let's see what we got. So first off, I wanted to do something a little bit different and draw a guiding card for the beginning of the reading. And we get the love card here. Two swans coming together, union and partnership and love. So let's see how this plays out through the reading. I'll touch back on this as we go. All right, and to start, I like to draw two pillars from the Psychic Tarot deck, left and right for Virgo. We have the Obstacles and Challenges card on the left here. And one of these is ringing a bell. And the Partnerships and Alliance card here on the right. All right, so these are the main pillars here. Next, I'll draw with a different tarot deck below these. I'm going to turn on my direct monitor. There we go. So now I can actually hear myself in the microphone. Alrighty. First, we have the Prince of Swords. Next, near the bottom, we have the Three of Pentacles. And then right next to the top, we have the Six of Wands. So far, it's looking good. Definitely an uprising of energy theme here. One of working and success and writing inspiration and having some sort of kind of divine support here in some sense. You know, higher energy, higher guides and beings see that as the cherubim, right? You know, like carriers of love and pursuing what you love, you know, setting your mind with clarity, you know, to pursue these things and to get yourself in the world. We also have the Three of Pentacles following that. This is the card of making your own individual mark on your work, you know, imbuing your signature, your vibration, your uniqueness into what you are creating, what you are working on and contributing in building in the structure of society and business. Then we have the Six of Wands here, which is a kind of triumphant recognition, you know, of your wins, of your success, of what you bring to life, what you bring to the people, people celebrating and recognizing you for the work you've been involved in. Seeing that underneath the obstacles and challenges and towards the partnership and alliances card here. So I think we're already kind of seeing a narrative trajectory here for the month. Let's see what the fourth card is. All right, another upright. We have the Two of Wands. This is a card of, you know, standing up and moving on what you believe in, you know, having the courage, you know, to get perspective for where you've been and where you're going, you know, and holding together the different forces that you're carrying with purpose. All right, next we have the Ten of Wands in reverse. So I typically see this as a gatekeeper card, you know, somebody guarding or some kind of obstacle, somebody disallowing you from passing. But seeing this in reverse, I feel like things are opening up, or you are no longer encumbered necessarily with what might have been a perceived or known obstacle in sorts. So that is interesting and exciting. That is the fifth. Next we go to the sixth. Very good. We have the Hanged Man. Yeah, so a change of perspective, understanding the hanged man is somebody, who has experienced and endured a degree of sacrifice and may have been put in a position where they, were taken against their will or at the mercy of others. But in this, they kind of have a kind of paradoxical liberation. You see the halo here, of the triangle of the sun of the ascendant divine light by the head of the hanged man in this cove, and it symbolizes a new perspective that is ultimately advantageous for you in your life, Virgo. All right, for the seventh card underneath the partnership and alliances card. Yeah, a lot of upright this month. We have the Emperor. Yeah, so I think for you, Virgo, it's important to know, and or you may be realizing in this month that you are kind of at the center of your life and you're undergoing, thinking, taking responsibility. This is a Capricornian / Arian in the Aries sense card, right? We have the ram here symbolizing the power animal of the Emperor, and it is under his control. That is willpower, that is direction, that is capriciousness, the ability to, agilely, scale obstacles up a mountain and be able to tackle things direct and head on. So like the Emperor has an energy of being forthright and confident in his power. He is poised and responsible and very much kind of measured in his ways to be able to secure, maintain, and hold his position of power and authority and leadership with his empire. So that's kind of a metaphor for you, Virgo, of, finding yourself, the emperor within yourself. So very interesting trajectory here. A lot of positive energy. It looks like some things are clearing up, Virgo. The last few months that I've done have been challenging from what I've been able to read, and somewhat confusing. I'd say it's probably been the most educational as I'm still learning and getting familiar with the cards and doing readings. It was the most confusing and challenging for me. I had to afterwards actually go back and kind of submit my readings to ChatGPT and be like, help me understand what I got right and what I kind of missed the mark with in terms of the readings. So yeah. All right. Next, I'm going to go back left and right and do another added layer here. And then lastly, I'll do some just a general psychic remote viewing kind of for the themes for Virgo and the energetics for this month. All right. Yeah. Underneath the Emperor, we have the Four of Cups. Yeah, I feel like you're starting to understand, Virgo, that, your emotional energy is valuable. And, you might not have been getting what you poured into here in all your partnerships and or alliances. Seeing this in reverse, I feel like this is calling into question, I feel like some of you may have been learning, that learning about this and learning how to do it in a way where there's perhaps reciprocity and you're not being, left drained and looking for more, with what you have in your emotional wellness here, represented by the cups, feelings, dreams, emotions, and things like this. This is somebody who has multiple cups and is pouring into others, right? But seeing this in the reverse position underneath the Emperor, I think this is a theme for this month of understanding that, and maybe waking up to and realizing, what is not coming back to you and what's not emotionally nourishing you. In fact, what might be harming you. And I think, owning that and understanding and taking rulership of that and making decisions in accordance with that. All right, next let's go underneath the Hangman and see what else is going there. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is somebody who is very much kind of calculated. This is kind of a similar vibration of the Emperor, but with the Pentacles having to do with material pursuits, worldly success, things like that. We see a younger goat. So underneath the Hangman, with this change in perspective, I feel like for some of you, it's probably helping to ground you and give you a kind of new consolidated understanding understanding and a kind of emotional clarity to be able to orient yourself in your business and what you're doing. She is somebody who's calculated, who has learned from wisdom, both from observation and trial and error, to be able to come to a point where she is very, I guess I would say, ardent in her ability to be able to, be useful and projecting her, analytical abilities to be able to successfully see to the certain completion and strategic logistics of different operations, I would say. All right, next underneath the Ten of Wands reversed, we have the Knight of Swords. Yeah, so I feel like for some of you where you might have been feeling obstructions with regards to, people, places, or things in the past where there was some gatekeeping and it felt like this scary thing, this threshold that you might have wanted to pass through, but I feel like you're just bypassing that, and or you've moved on to better things that are more aligned with you, wherein lessons may have been learned. I see the Knight of Swords. So yeah, with this energy, I feel like your brilliance and that desire that was maybe feeling obstructed before is now up and running again, and pursuing what they have, to go forth and, implement and express their thinking, their mind, and making clearer decisions and getting things moving again. So that's good. That's positive. Now underneath the Two of Wands, we have the Lovers. Yeah, so this card, the Lovers of, fighting for what you love for, what you desire. It's this kind of hero journeys of saving. And we're also seeing with partnerships. So with this card, traditionally, it's more about gaining perspective about where you're going on a, and looking over, this valley and the mountaintop, to kind of see where you're going when it comes to, implementing things and putting your will into the world. We have the Lovers here. So maybe it's suggesting that in looking over and assessing things, to temper that with love and understanding relationships and how our relationships factor into this kind of perspective accounting during this month, and also how that may serve love, or how we may be more empowered, to be the hero, or empower those to come and basically serve love, in a devotional way, to serve the love that we have and that is dear, and to overcome the monsters, right? The sea demons or whatever in the emotional landscape. So very good. All right. Underneath the Six of Wands, that card of recognition, celebration of your wins in the eyes of others, and a kind of homecoming, we have the we have the Queen of Wands. So yeah, I see that there's this kind of like confidence. I feel like that kind of energy of that recognition and people celebrating wins together for what you've been doing and what you've been leading and what you've been successful in is definitely helping to encourage you and give you a kind of consolidated confidence and a kind of poised. It's as if, like the struggle and the work involved in achieving certain things is now like kind of completed itself. So you've got like a notch on your buckle, so to speak, with more confidence. And, as that continues, you'll be able to consolidate more of this kind of confidence and this inner resilience and this inner warmth and light, and so, yeah, it's kind of a positive growth spiral here. Next, we go back to the Three of Pentacles, this kind of unique, leaving your mark and building on something uniquely that is true to yourself, that may be different, but yet is contributing to some kind of, structure. We have the Five of Swords. Yeah, so there might be worries. There might be some worries and some disagreements and some confusion. There might be some harshness, perhaps, around that. So it's interesting to contemplate. I feel like, that it's probably going to resonate and speak to you metaphorically if it does. But yeah, we can see here that there's this ghoulish kind of warrior who has this kind of slave underneath his foot with his hand. So this ghoulish person may represent, the dark side of your thinking, your fears, and worries with these swords up in the air, kind of cutting and poking in the mind, and perhaps a part of you, or perhaps the slave represents you and the other person represents some kind of externalized fear that's really internal. So yeah, and around this work and leaving your own mark, there still may be perhaps some fears about, you doing your work in the world and finding a position with your own authenticity. So I'm going to draw another card there, but it's right next to this, so understanding that your work and your successes will help build on your confidence, and I feel like that will help diffuse this, whatever those worries and anxieties and kind of mental anguish may be. So yeah, I pulled the Star in reverse. So I feel like some of you might be afraid to be in the limelight, and really come into your full radiance, because there might be, this shadow of worry around things here. But again, I feel like the Queen of Wands and embracing those challenges and, just continuing to do what you're doing. We have the Queen of Swords here. So this is, cutting decisions, cutting out certain things in your life, certain egos, certain thoughts, certain beliefs, so you see this fierceness. It's almost like Kali, the goddess of destruction and whatnot in Hinduism, sitting here on her throne, being ruthless to defend what is sacred and what needs protection. This is somebody that, can definitely recognize and won't hesitate, to cut things if necessary to protect their energy. So yeah, maybe cut out the different things that are causing disturbances and leaks in your life, so that you can come into better radiance, to protect your gifts and your emotional vitality, and to overcome some of the mental anguish so that you can just more truly, do your work in your own authentic way, kind of get your nose to the grind and, continue to achieve more success and recognition to bolster your confidence and your pride, your confident, quiet pride in your work, where it speaks for itself largely, so that you may serve love and gain perspective, continue charging forth and implementing your calculated gifts and abilities, so that you can, avoid, you've learned to, be more careful about what you pour yourself into, and that requires the Emperor here, being the ruler of one's own kingdom, underneath the partnership and alliance card. So understanding that as a core theme, along with the challenges and obstacles that might come with this journey. But in the center is love. And know to love yourself first. We can't always expect people to love us or to give the love we feel we may deserve. But if we love ourselves, that is golden. That is shield, and that can help serve to understand where we might need to cut things out. Like we don't really owe anybody anything necessarily, depending on the karma. And sometimes what's best for us is to do the hard thing and cut people out. But it's necessary at times, and whatever, life goes on. So, all right, coming back to the Prince of Swords, our first card here of kind of, breaking free and charging with new kind of energy and revitalization that seems to be guided with the cherubims in service of love, that kind of divine flow. We have underneath that this card here, which is, so we have the Five of Wands, which is a card of grappling, overwhelm, and kind of burden of, too many people coming at us and kind of distorting our will, tying our hands up. We see this in reverse. So I feel like this energy is helping us to liberate us and break free from these binds, whether it's internal or external in relationships, interests, and general things that tie us up, and maybe too many pots on the kitchen stove. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Next, I will go to the Obsidian Orb. So let me see here. just going to hold it rather than gaze at it. Yeah, I'm definitely, it's like something about trials and admission. It's almost as if trying out for a play to see if one is adequate, one is desirable for a certain role. And there's certain people who have a kind of, what do you call it? Like a rubric of things that they're looking to judge on and assess in their process of selecting somebody that is appropriate for the role in which they're seeking somebody to play. And I'm seeing that these themes that have come through the reading about confidence and loving oneself and being sound within one's own energetic sphere themselves is really, really advantageous, because whether or not you make it, you have an understanding therefrom of understanding that there is a kind of divine play of perfection, and understanding that it's not all about you, and it's everybody's story is interplaying all at once. If somebody denies us or somebody rejects us for a certain reason, that's more about them than it is about you necessarily. In this metaphor of the play, they're seeking a certain role, and they have the rights to choose who they want for that role. Yet if you are understanding and confident with your skills and ability and your own self-worth, you can handle rejection in a more healthy way, knowing that was their choice, and you showed up and did the best you could, and you're okay. You can go on to other things because you know and trust and love yourself and are confident and see the value and know the value in yourself for what you've worked on and the achievements and the energy that you've consolidated that is yours in confidence. So Virgo, let's see what else might be here in this month through this now intuitive psychic reading part. Trust in transitions as things are moving. I'm kind of seeing this bus and this whiteboard, an image of a bus and waiting for the right bus. Are things on time? On things our schedule? Is the bus going to hold up? Is there going to be weird people on the bus? Is there some lady with a beard going to be talking to you about Aflac insurance and telling you it's 3 popsicles, but nevertheless, I'm still seeing this understanding that part of this is showing up in the magnetism of your vibration, of understanding that if you hold and or withhold certain anxieties within your mind, and you don't find a way to necessarily temper them and overcome them with a degree of courage and confidence in a consolidation of your worth and value, that you will be more subject to the anxieties that come from being within a world of people and differences that don't necessarily understand where you're coming from and who you are. So in finding the right timing, and the rubric involves a certain degree of owning time, coming back to the Emperor, one who is ruling, and reminiscent of the Queen of Pentacles. Be the ruler of your own time. The more calculated, consolidated, planned, and structured, the more you can own your time, your value, and your worth, and support your confidence to be able to more gracefully and adeptly overcome the different obstacles. Once again, the centerpiece is love, self-love, and understanding the self-reflective energy of love. You will always see it mirrored in the universe, but if you understand and you source it from within yourself, you have ample abundance to give and receive love because you have it within yourself first. Partnerships and alliances will magnetize and become more easy and accessible once you understand this. Very good, Virgo. I'm going to complete that there. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Steve, and this is Soulfire Tarot, SOL. I have and have not. Sound and vibrations, negative manifestations, oust be you. Whoosh. Peace.